first, good thing I'm not telling any stories. Our first storyteller is this gentleman here. Wait for it. It's coming. Sean Sellers, New Yorker for life. 23 years he's been in New York. From Alabama, a little known special town, home of opportunity and the Rattlesnake Rodeo. Left when the local McDonald's closed. Yes, there wasn't as much opportunity as he thought. Hired comedy and tour guide. His rattlesnake net is cast wide. Sean Sellers is a New Yorker for life. Come on up, Sean.
Yes, I'm Sean Sellers.
New Yorker for life.
This is Christmas 2007. I should have listened to my inside voice. Particularly since I didn't listen to all the details. When this friend of a friend called me because she has a friend that's driving from New York to Alabama. On the phone, this friend says, she's driving home with her dog. You should go with her. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear I'm hitchhiking home for the holidays. I mean, what's two strangers? One giving another a lift. Hitchhiking. That's what it is. That's what it is. She says, no, it's my friend Carol. She's driving to Mobile day after tomorrow. Well, I'm already in my head. I'm planning, packing, preparing. I'm going to surprise my family on Christmas Eve. I completely missed this whole story where this girl's cat died on Wednesday. And she wants to carry it home for a proper backyard burial. I blame all of this on Magnolia, my dog. That bitch, she is just large enough that her travel arrangements cost more than mine. And I can tell you right now, flying home for Alabama is not worth $1,000. I wouldn't have believed it myself, but I was in the car. It was 19 degrees out. We were speeding down the highway with the windows rolled down because she said the CO2 from the dry ice will deplete the oxygen in the car and we will lose consciousness and more than likely die. Either in a car accident or sleeping at a truck stop. What did I get myself into? Allow me to back up just a minute. We got off to a late start. We had a miscommunication regarding departure time. I called asking, are you ready? And apparently I asked the question wrong. The question should have been, is the car packed? Because in this girl's world, these are two different things. I'm trying to reduce the stress on these two dogs. When I asked, are you ready, I thought would be sufficient, but it was not. Now, Carol is putting this garbage bag and its contents into this black SUV I now call the hearse. And she explains that she didn't want to pack the car early because she was worried about the cat thawing out. It's 19 degrees. What do you mean, thaw out? And that's when she explains to me that she has had, or this was what she said, it grossed me out, her cat has been in her freezer for the last week.
Oh.
The contents of her freezer are in the freezer next door. Now, you can't tell me that New Yorkers are not neighborly. Finally, we're on the road. Carol says, "When do you realize you've forgotten something?" I said, "Well, then it's forgotten." And this is when she shares with me that she left 2 other cats back at her apartment.
Oh.
I mean, this is not the way one breaks the ice when you're trying to get to know each other. She says she has 2 other cats, cremated remains, sitting on her kitchen counter in cookie tins.
Oh.
Now, I wish I could say that this is as interesting as this trip gets, but happily it's not. We're now trying to squeeze through the Lincoln Tunnel. And this is when she shares with me that we have to make our first stop. She was worried about this cat decomposing during the 24-hour trip. It takes that long to get to Alabama. And she was worried about this decomposing, so she found a place to put it on dry ice. She pulls the hearse into this empty parking lot of this odd industrial park on December 23rd in Secaucus, New Jersey. She takes that garbage bag inside, and she comes back out about an hour later with a white styrofoam cooler containing the cat. She puts this thing in the car, and she says, "We're going to have to ride the rest of the way with the windows rolled down." Remember this whole CO2 part? Well, we're back on the highway again, and this is when she explains that the first time she saw a rodent in her apartment, she got a cat. She's had 3 since. This is how we learn that we have been New York transplants for about 20 years, and it was making for some very interesting conversation. And so she was going on about this cat, and we are making our way down the road, and she's now sharing that, because they were worried, her family kept calling us all the time and interrupting us, but because they were worried about her traveling alone. And I was going to, surprise my family on Christmas Eve. And I'm now hearing her family, she says, "No, I've got a travel companion." And she wasn't just talking about her border collie mix, Lucy, or that damn cat. She's talking about me. I'm sitting in the car right next to her in the bucket seat. I hear everything. She's now telling them what town I'm from. And so we're now like bonding. It's like kinship. When you're back home, we're hometown people now. And then all of a sudden, she turns to me and her daddy said, "Pull off and let him out on the side of the road." Understand that this holiday is synonymous with football, and football is serious in the South. And so I have just shared with Carol something, and now she has told her daddy. And she has told him that I went to the rival school. And this was his response. As we were speeding through the state of Virginia, he said, "Pull off and let him out on the side of the road." And his little dog, too. I'm like, guys, this is just like the Hatfields and the McCoys. I mean, I have always had to try to explain. Alabama is not a state prison. My Lord, we are now making our way to the Alabama border. And my phone has rung for 4 times now, and I'm worried my family has discovered what I'm doing, that I'm going to surprise them. Or the NSA is trying to figure out my location. I don't know. But, so here it's my cousin, and she's on the other line, and she's now crying. And she was like, "Mama died today. On Christmas Eve." People, Christmas is nothing like a family funeral. I mean, you can't have a better Christmas than that. Now I remember why I moved so far away. So, while I'm home, I'm going to have to attend a funeral. And so, I am from Alabama. So, we talk about possums, gators, rattlers. These are the things you talk about at a family funeral. And so, I had this cousin, and he says, "You still live up north?" you're going to have a hard time flying back because they having some kind of weather up there. And I said, well, I didn't fly down. I drove down with this girl I met day before yesterday. And he's still going on about the weather up there when I said, yeah, I was introduced to this girl, and we were driving down, and she brought her dog, I brought my dog. We were driving down, and he was like, he looked at me, he was like all perplexed, and he said, in a car? Well, we were in a hearse. I mean, it was like an SUV. It was me, Carol, the 2 dogs, and this cat in a cooler. And that just threw him for a loop. And I realize now I should have left that part out. Because I don't know what killed this cat, but this made my cousin incredibly curious. And so he asked me, he said, did you see the cat? I said, no. He said, how do you know there was a cat? I said, well, Carol told me that she was driving home to bury this cat in her backyard. Thought you said you didn't know this girl. She could have been running drugs. I'm like, not Carol. She's a special education teacher. She was not smuggling drugs. He said, you just said you didn't see the cat. And you don't know the girl. How do you know she wasn't running drugs? Gosh. And I'm like, I couldn't argue with his or his paranoid personality. And I can tell you right now, I could not wait to get back in that car with that crazy cat lady. I had been in Alabama for 5 days, and I could not wait to get out. Oh. My God. And so we decided, we get back in the car. Now, Carol and I know we got to make all of our potty stops and our meals. We have to do them all in shifts because we were worried about the 2 dogs not getting along in the car and fighting. So we did everything in shifts. We had it down to a science, and we were making good time getting back to New York City. I mean, those signs are just passing us right and left, going through the interstate. We're moving along, and all of a sudden there's this sign that says Secaucus, next exit. And I remembered those sleepless hours in that car, worrying about the CO2 depleting the oxygen in the car. And I smiled. Because I am almost home. We rolled through the Lincoln Tunnel, made our way to the East Village, and she dropped me off. And as I got out, I was saying goodbye. Right before she left, she rolled down the window. She says, if you need a ride next year, you let me know. No fucking way. Happy holidays, everyone.
All right, let's hear it again for Sean Sellers.